Okay, welcome back to my video podcast on the future of business and technology. I'm Bernard Ma, and today I'm joined by Bill McDermott, the CEO of ServiceNow. Bill is one of the most respected leaders in the technology industry, having successfully led two Fortune 500 companies through major transformations. Prior to joining ServiceNow, he served as CEO of SAP, where he drove significant growth and innovation. Under Bill's leadership, ServiceNow has positioned itself at the forefront of the AI revolution, helping organizations implement intelligent solutions that transform work. Today, we'll explore how AI is changing leadership requirements, why companies need an AI agent control tower, and discuss the future of human AI collaboration. Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Bernard. Great to be here.
It's so lovely to have you with me. You've successfully led two Fortune 500 companies through periods of major technical and transformative change. What's fundamentally different about leading through the AI revolution compared to previous technological transformations?
Well, the AI revolution is faster than all of them. I tell people all the time, the world has never changed this fast, and it'll never move this slow again. So of all the changes, this one is the most rapid. And I look at the world right now, we kind of forgot about COVID a little bit, but there was a pre-COVID, a COVID, and a post-COVID world. And I think people have underestimated the importance of technology, transparency, metrics, measurement, and the kinds of things that leaders have to put into their companies now to both get people moving again and to help people catch this wave. It's not only about onboarding people into the AI culture, it's about everboarding them. And if they don't catch the wave now, there's a great chance that they could get left behind, and there's an even greater chance that companies that don't catch this wave will, in fact, get left behind. So this is a do or die moment for both individuals and companies to catch this lightning fast AI revolution.
Yeah, no, and I talk about this new era of hyper innovation where things will just accelerate. ServiceNow talks about this being the iPhone moment of AI. Can you elaborate on why this is a good comparison and what lessons business leaders should take from how mobile transformed industries?
Yes, of course, Bernard. Last week I was with 150 CEOs, and this is consistent across all of their companies. They have 20th century structures. If you think about companies in the last century, which wasn't that long ago, they were all built on functional org charts. You had finance, you had HR, you had sales and customer service, you had engineering, and so forth. And the structures of these companies have been built over the last 6 decades, and the systems that are in these companies are very much functional systems. ERP for finance, HR systems for HR, and so forth. In the AI world, you're now combining what happened with the internet, with cloud computing, and with the mobile business moment when Steve Jobs brought the iPhone to market in 2007. But AI embodies all of that because AI is bigger than all of them combined. This is the only $20 trillion global impact business I've ever seen, and that $20 trillion in global impact will happen in the next 5 years. So just think about that. And so now these companies are bogged down with these departmental systems that they keep investing in, keep upgrading. They have different release levels. Some are in the cloud, some are on premise, some are in someone else's cloud, and the chaos is only growing. And then everybody in the industry is talking to them about agents for their silo, which is only going to exacerbate the complexity. So what we have brought to market at ServiceNow is a single platform with one architecture, one data model, and one gorgeous user experience that serves as the control tower for AI business transformation. So we give you agents for all those functions, but we also integrate with everyone else's agents. So think of this as a control tower in an airport. Somebody has to control the traffic and integrate with the traffic. That also extends not only to the applications, but also the data. Now you have large language models from the biggest tech companies. You also have data from data lakes that have been built, and you have data from these systems of record. And there's also unstructured data that resides on people's own personal devices. So what we have done is we built the world's fastest and most comprehensive database that actually not only serves ServiceNow's needs, but it integrates with all these other data sources. So now you could take structured and unstructured data and all the procedures in these companies and integrate them into one common platform that's going to drive mass innovation, efficiency, and productivity. And that is the calling card of every CEO right now and every public sector entity around the world. So once they know about ServiceNow, it's game, set, match. My biggest challenge, and why I'm on with you today, is to get the awareness level up there to let people know they don't have to go on forced marches, they don't have to do what they've always done, and in fact, if they do what they've always done, they'll get what they always got, which is not good enough.
Yeah, I like the idea of an AI agent control tower. Can you maybe share some examples of how ServiceNow is operating as that control tower and what departments you can impact?
Sure. I'd like to also speak about ServiceNow. We drink our own champagne here. So every employee in our company is using ServiceNow every day. We've already recognized nearly $500 million in real economic value, and these are the early days. AI agents are freeing up 3 million hours of employee capacity. We have a 50% increase in productivity and nearly an 80% deflection rate in cases that humans used to have to manage and don't have to with AI. When you think about customer engagement, because this is a big area, AI agents at ServiceNow are achieving 85% customer self-service, which means it's not a chatbot. That's what other people are doing. We have real AI agents that actually have the ability to think on a human comprehension level and solve customer problems 85% of the time, which is freeing up the humans to do more important things. Think about IT. We have an 80% reduction in the mean time to resolution. So think about all these cases in these companies that go on weeks and months, in some cases multiple months. We're resolving them in sub-seconds in some cases, but in minutes and hours, not days and weeks and months. And with CRM, AI agents are helping increase our prospect conversion rate 16x. So just think about today's companies. They have leads to do something with customers, but most of those leads are not meaningful. They're just inquiries that agents can take care of. The real leads have to get in the hands of the real sales professionals, and when they do that, our conversion rate in improving sales from a lead is up 16 times year on year. And companies like BT and Siemens and Rolls-Royce are all using ServiceNow AI to streamline their operations, enable faster decision-making time, and they're driving huge efficiency. And I think data-driven decision-making using AI as the calling card is the future, but the future is here today.
And do you see any specific departments or areas where the impact has been the greatest so far?
Well, you're going to look at sales, obviously, with the things that I just said. You're also going to look at IT because of the things that I just said. And think about HR. You know, right now, I'm looking at HR not so much as just, hire the best people, onboard them properly, and make sure they're trained, certified, and ready for business. I mean, that's, table stakes. I'm looking at HR now as the reinvention of our business model, because it's very clear that AI agents work 24/7, 365 days a week. They don't need health care plans, and they don't have expensive lunches. In fact, they don't take any time off at all. So we now have a new workforce in addition to the human workforce. So we'll need, right now we've estimated we can do the same work today with 10% less of the workforce. Because we're a growth company, we're not thinking about a smaller workforce. We're thinking about how we can deploy the AI agents to give us a greater growth rate with greater efficiency, a different margin profile, and obviously enhanced shareholder expectations for what's possible, but most importantly, happier customers. So think about IT, think about sales, think about HR, and then go to engineering. Today, if you think about natural language text, we can improve the setup time for engineers by 75%. So instead of doing the silly nonsense work to set up innovation, they're already using natural language to get right into it. And now they're inventing more faster. And with ServiceNow, they have a knowledge graph on how that code is going to impact the way in which the company's running across all departments. So it's really a limitless scenario. It's going to go across every single department, and it's going to absolutely reinvent corporations. And the ones that don't think so are going to be second and third movers, and they will not have an advantage. Their disadvantage will be exponential. You got to go with the AI revolution to win.
Yeah, I'd like to dive deeper into this a little. So with AI agents becoming tenured employees, as you say, working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, how do you see the relationship between human workers and AI evolving over the next 3 to 5 years?
This is a great question. You know, a lot of people think the inflection point in this evolution will have a negative impact on people. And I will just remind you, Bernard, of this intelligence revolution and how long it's been going on. You know, in 1966, Time magazine basically made the statement that with the evolution of the computer and then thereafter the personal computer, it would be likely that 90% of the jobs in corporations would no longer be necessary. Only 10% would be employed, and there'll probably be high-level managers where states and federal governments would have to support the people and basically create a welfare state. Well, millions and millions of jobs later, we know that's not true. But we also know, and the British Chamber of Commerce has stated, that 2/3 of the UK employees will face tremendous challenges in training and productivity, and the employers are facing enormous skill shortages. And these productivity challenges need to be solved, and they need to be solved now. So what's going to happen is this agentic AI workforce will do the soul-crushing work in every industry in the tasks and productivity areas that humans don't want to do anyway. And someone said to me the other day, well, Bill, if you can transform CRM this way, it's going to absolutely change the job profile of my call centers, where a lot of CEOs have thousands and thousands of workers. And I reminded them that's true, but you already have 35% turnover in your call centers anyway. So maybe what we're going to do is, instead of having 35% turnover, you won't have turnover. You'll have happy, super productive employees because they'll be doing the work that the computer or the machine didn't do. So smart machines or thinking machines is part of it, but also thinking machines and smart humans is the other part of it. So I think this will be a collaborative scenario, and most of this work will be done invisibly where the humans won't even see it. So I think this is going to be a renaissance in productivity, a renaissance where humans and computers join, and thinking machines will build better thinking humans and better outcomes for the global economy.
When we look at AI spending at the moment, it is growing 3 times faster than GDP. How should companies balance the urgency to invest in AI, which you made that point very clearly, with the need for responsible and sustainable implementation?
Totally. I mean, you got to remember, this is an existential moment for companies. Sadly, as I watch how most of the IT budgets are getting allocated, most of the IT budget is being spent on doing what companies have always done. In fact, 80 to 90% of the budget is going to keeping the trains running on time as they've always have. And in a lot of cases, that also means upgrading the old tech, which is still old, to newer versions of the old tech, which is a major mistake. And so I try to explain to people why it's a mistake, because what's going to happen is a lot of that money is trapped in these old legacy systems and these old legacy architectures, that departmental spend that I explained, which is not freeing up enough net new investment to go to the AI revolution. So my first recommendation is to stop doing what you've always done and take a fresh look at the art of the possible. And I would say you should start moving half of your IT discretionary budget to the AI revolution and doing work in a new revolutionary way, which is going to give your company, whether it's in the public or the private sector, a real shot at growing again, innovating again, thinking about new business models, and stepping out of the past. You know, I talk to CEOs every day, Bernard, and they are really, really upset because they've thrown billions of investment at digital transformation only to find out that 85% of the digital transformation projects have not delivered a positive ROI for them. And I remind them that the reason it hasn't delivered a positive ROI is where we started our interview: a lack of integration. Because these siloed systems in a 20th century architecture don't communicate well with each other, and they don't integrate well with each other. So you're optimizing for departmental success, not for organizational success. And that's a recipe for disaster in the AI universe.
Yeah, I very much agree that existing systems, existing way of doing things are holding organizations back. Another reason that's holding them back is they're scared of regulation and other things. So many of your customers, like the Department of Work and Pensions, BT, Lloyds Bank, they all operate in highly regulated industries. So how does ServiceNow approach the governance challenges of autonomous AI agents in these contexts?
Yeah, the reason why ServiceNow is growing 150% quarter over quarter with our Agentic AI platform is as follows. Many years ago, when I first got here, we started out on our AI journey, and we built a domain-specific AI journey on the ServiceNow platform. And the reason for that was we knew that AI was the future for sure, but we also knew that in corporations and in government entities, especially those that are regulated, they could not tolerate hallucination, and they had to have perfection because these systems cannot miss. It's way too important. So with our system, which is a domain-specific platform, it is cheap to run because it is not GPU hungry. It's highly efficient. It's totally secure because we're working with the customer's data and only their data on that domain-specific level. And it's lightning fast because we're working with the customer's data. So cheap, secure, and fast was the calling card of the ServiceNow platform. So if that is what we want to do with a regulated environment, we have it. We've had it for many years now. It's selling beautifully, and customers love it. Now, there is an evolution to large language models that may not be domain-specific only to the ServiceNow platform. And that could come from wonderful companies, great companies like Microsoft, like Amazon, like Google, like Meta as examples. So we have chosen to give the customer the option of integrating those seamlessly into the ServiceNow platform. And those models are getting better and better every day, and they're getting cheaper and cheaper to run every day. So as the company that we're working with or the entity in the public sector or, for example, regulated industries like financial services choose to go that way, they have that option. But for the most part, when it comes to their corporate data and it comes to mission-critical regulated procedures, they're using the domain-specific capabilities of ServiceNow. But we do provide that choice. So I think having that choice is the main thing. And that's why I think we became the first mover in the enterprise, because we saw this world coming 6 years ago when we first started building agentic AI solutions on the ServiceNow platform with Jensen at NVIDIA. And we offer that today. And I think having that choice of domain-specific as well as integrating those LLMs is just a gorgeous integrated opportunity. And customers will oblige by that and activate that on their own choice. And I'm very, very happy we made that decision, which is why we're the leader today.
Yeah, I can see that for things like generative AI working very well. Do you think that when it comes to agentic AI that makes more autonomous decisions, that we need additional guardrails for that?
Well, I think you're going to have the guardrails with domain specific, because if you choose to put the guardrail in, that you're not going to go outside the window of the company's own data, where you're dealing with things that are extremely private, they need to be secure, and they're regulated in nature. We already put that guardrail in with the way we designed the platform. I do think over time, there will be more and more integration and use of large language models that go beyond only our platform, because they're going to get smarter, they're going to be able to reason even better, and their perfection will improve over time. So I think it's all going to come together. But for now, I think if you're really worried about, agentic AI and choosing a platform that's working with your own data, we have the control tower. Other participants in the market will have their agents too. And if they choose to use ServiceNow and let us control the action for them, they're going to be in a beautiful situation. And that's why 25 out of 25 of the world's largest banks work with us right now. That's why the largest government agencies, military agencies, Secret Service agencies around the world work with us, because we have that lockdown choice for them. But at the same time, they're not locked in, because we integrate as they wish with every model that they want to go to.
Great. I'd like to talk a little bit about leadership. You've maintained your entrepreneurial drive throughout your career, from your first Xerox interview to leading ServiceNow. How has your leadership philosophy evolved while keeping that core hunger intact?
Yeah, I think the core hunger is never going to leave me. That's for sure. I believe that people are wired how they're wired, and the hunger started really young. And as I've evolved and done different things with my life, I actually think the intensity has increased, because I feel a tremendous sense of responsibility to the 27,000 women and men that work at ServiceNow. So every day that I get up, I think about them. I think about their families. I think about their futures. And so my legacy is based upon the success that other people get to realize. I've always said that the true measure of a leader is not what they take from this world, it's what they give to it. And when I see inflection points in markets like the one we're in right now, my intensity and my drive only increases, because I know that I'm loving people and I'm building trust with people by letting them know that they have to accelerate the pace, that I know this is uncomfortable, that I know change is hard, but I also know missing waves is even harder. So I would just say that drive is just a blessing It's a superpower. I feel sorry for people that don't have it, and I feel very lucky that I do. And I feel very lucky to have come up the way I did in a working class family where I had many jobs that paid me near nothing, but I loved every one of them because I needed the money and I needed the opportunity. And then I was a teenage entrepreneur, and I tell the story in my book, Winner's Dream, and I learned everything I needed to know in that little store. The only thing that really mattered was my customers. They were my only boss. And if they didn't come back and I didn't make them happy, then I lose the game to my competition. And I recognized that force then, and I'm still driven by that force today. You can get anything in this world that you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And you work for the customer. Every day we put on our hard hat, we roll up our sleeves, and we go to work for the customer. And I drive my organization hard, especially now, on the innovation roadmaps and what we're building and how great it has to be, on pre-sale that we're doing everything we're supposed to do, that we really understand the customer environment. And then when we make a sale, we deliver on the post-sale side even more than we promised when we made the sale, because it's all about your word, and your word is your bond. And then you'll have the references. You'll have people that are raving fans of your company, and you'll also have an ecosystem that buys in and then follows you and builds jobs on the platform. And then the network effect and this virtuous cycle takes off. So the drive is there, more now than ever, and I just thank God for it every day.
Amazing. So as someone who's led both a traditional software giant and now ServiceNow through the AI revolution, what's your advice to CEOs who are just at the beginning of their AI transformation journey?
I think the most important thing is to really get involved and really understand how your company is running. Because I think if you look into the details of how these companies are running, you won't tolerate it. You'll just say enough is enough. I had one CEO who's a very good friend of mine, had a $1.1 billion budget that was soaked up in upgrading the past. And after several years, it's still not upgraded. And the billion got burned and markets got missed. So look into the details, because the details will help you form a bigger dream. It's not just about technology. It's about what the technology can do for the dream. And the dream can be exponentially bigger than you think. I always tell people, if you take 30 linear steps, you'll go 1 to 30. If you take 30 exponential steps, 1, 2, 4, 8, by the time you get to 30, you traveled around the world. You did 1 billion steps. Think about going around the world 26 times just by thinking differently. So dreams have to be big, but they have to be fundamentally landed by understanding the details. The details really matter. And then I also think, if I had to give any advice, it would be, you gotta want it more. And you win as a team. And what I do see in the cultures today, there's a lot of people that are sitting on the sideline and they're not fully participating. And I'm constantly reminded that getting the participation rates in these companies up and getting people to work needs to happen. And a lot of people spend time on where they are physically, but we need their mind, their body, and their spirit, the heart of the people involved in the pursuit, no matter where they are. I'm working no matter where I am, and I'm on the mission no matter what's happening. And I think we need much more engaged, involved, inspired people to win championships. You know, my grandfather, Bobby McDermott, was a Hall of Fame basketball player, and when I think about his life story, you know, playing 15 years old in the playgrounds in New York and becoming a Hall of Fame basketball player, it was that competitive drive and that desire to win that carried him throughout his career. And I believe that many CEOs need to think like that. And you know, he was also a player coach. And so the way I try to do my job is not do my job behind a desk, but be on the front lines with the people, really understanding what we got to do to help the customer win in every industry.
Wonderful, very inspiring. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, I think thinking big is a perfect piece of advice, especially in the context of these amazing AI tools that we now have available that allow people to actually grow exponentially. So, thank you for your time, Bill.
Bernard, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, after today's conversation, we inspire many thousands of people to reverse engineer the world they want, and then they will what they want to happen. I hope we help them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That would be amazing. Yeah. And for anyone who ever wants to re-watch this conversation or re-listen to it, simply head to any podcast platform or my YouTube channel where you can find this conversation and hundreds others like this. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bernard.